But of course, there is more at work here than just the courage to stand and focus. There's also the courage to face and shape the subject in an extremely original manner. Citation 75. See Lisa Speen's images of dark Versailles, Paris by nights, the tenderly encountered history of rooms in Andrew Bush's Bronxtown, work of O. Winston Link and Karen Gokjin, as well as some of the photographs by Lucien Anger, Osbert Lamb, Cass Orpheus, Floris M. Nusis, Ashim Ghosh, Annette Lemix, Irina Ionsko, Cindy Sherman, Edmund Tesk, Andre Fenninger, John Vakon, Tetsuya Ichimura, Sandy Skoglund, Yashiro Ishimoto, Leomont Newhall, James Allender, Robert Rauschenberg, Miyake Ishiuchi, Alfred Eisenstadt, Sebastião Ribeiro, Salgado, Alfred Stieglitz, Robert Adams, Sol Lipson, Hyun Kong Nick, Lester Talkington, William Henry Jackson, Edward Weston, William Baker, Yusuf Karsh, Adam Clark, Roman Julia, Margaret Cameron, George Bernard, Leonard Nielsen Baker, Leonard Nielsen Herb Ritz, Nancy Burston, Untitled, 1993, Bragalia Henry Cardinger Besson, Place de l'Europe, William Wegman, Gordon Parks, Alvin Lambden Colburn, Edward Russia, Herbert Pointing, Simpson Cashlier, Bob Adelman, Volkard Hoffer, Natural Buildings, 1991, Lee Friedlander, Mark Edwins, Henry Callahan, Robert Frank, Baltimore Sun photographer Aubrey Bodine, Charles Gateway, Furnick Burko, Leland Rice, Joan Lyons, Robert de Alessandro, Victor Kepler, Larry Fink, Bevan Davies, Lot Jacoby, Burke Uzel, George Washington Wilson, Julia Margaret Cameron, Carlin Watkins, Edward S. Curtis, Eve Arnold and Michael Lessie, Wisconsin Death Trip, Aaron Siselkind, Kelly Wise, Cornell Kappa, Bert Stern, Burke Uzel, it's Eve Arnold, now I'm on James Van Der Zee, yep, back on track, Leonard Freed, Philip Perkins, Keith Smith, Bert Glenn, one second, technical difficulties. Keith Smith, Bert Glenn, Bill Brandon, Laszlo Maholi, James Vanders, Laszlo Maholinagi, Leonard Arthur Rothstein, Louis Stetner, Ray K. Metzger, Edwin W. Quigley, Jim Bankston, Richard Prince, Walter Chappell, Paz Erazuritz, Rosamund Wolfe Purcell, E. J. Marcy, Gary Windogrand, Alexander Gardner, William Bullock, Neil Slavin, Lou Thomas, Patrick Nagatani, Donald Blumberg, David Plowden, Ernst Rubin, Will McBride, David Vestal, Jerry Butchard, George Gardner, Galina Sankova, Frank Golick, Olivia Parker, Charles Trabb, Ashvi Mehta, Walter Roseblum, Bruce Gilden, Imogen Cunningham, Barbara Crane, Louis Balls, Roger Minnick, George Krause, Saul Leiter, William Horace, Ed Douglas, John Baladarcy, Charles Harbert, Greg McGregor, Lillian Decker Lilio, Raymond Hero, Don Worth, Peter Magabane, Brett Weston, Jill Friedman, Joanne Leonard, Larry Clark, Nancy Rexroth, Jack Crims, Heinrich Tawnies, George Rotter, Art Sinaba, Arnold Genth, Frank Margie, Gertrude Keispier, Charles Negre, Harold Egerton, Shomei Tomatsu, Ray DeCarva, Samuel Bourne, Giuseppe Primoli, Paul Strand, Louis Heaney, William Eggleston, Frank Sutcliffe, Diane Arbus, Daniel Ibis, Raha La D. Dale, Ralph Eugene Meatyard, Walker Evans, Mary Ellen Mark, Timothy O'Sullivan, Jacob A. Reese, Ian Isaacs, David Epstein, Carl Struss, Sally Mann, P.H. Emerson, Ansel Adams, Louis Van Nock, Bernice Abbott, Susan Lipper, Dorothea Lang, James Ballag, Doris Ullman, William Henry Fox Talbot, John Thompson, Philip Hausman, Morris Engen, Christopher Yu, Thomas Annan, Alexander Rodchenko, Elliot Elisofun, Eugene Agate, Clarence John Wachemlin, Arthur Lezig, F. Holland Day, Jack English, Alice Austin, Bruce Davidson, Eudora Welty, Jimmy Hare, Ruth Orkin, Masahiko Yoshioka, Paul Susan Paul Alice Austin, Bruce Davidson, Eudora Paul Outerbridge Jr., Jerry N. Ulisman, Louis Jackins, Monday Dagre, Emmett Gowan, Carrie Weissman, Susan Misilis, Naomi Savage, Henry Peach Robertson, Sandra Eleta, Boris Ignatov, Eva Rubinstein, Susan Weege, Arthur Felink, Benjamin Stone, Andre Curtis, Stephen Shore, Lee Miller, Sid Grossman, Donegan Cumming, Jack Walpott, David Sims, Detlef Orlup, Untitled, Margaret Rourke White, Dimitri Kessel, Val Telgred, Pat Blue, Francisco Infante, Jed Fielding, John Hartfield, Elliot Porter, Gabriel and Munseki, Gabriel and Helmut Norfelger, okay, Francis Bragardi, Jerome Lambing, Eugene Richards, Welmer Bischoff, Martin Munkaski, Bruno Bari, Linda Connor, Oliver Gagliani, Arno Raphael Minkinikin, Richard Marglis, Judith Golden, Philip Traeger, Scott Hyde, William Van Dyke, Eileen Callan Natter, Gassarpi Felix Torachum, Roger Mertlin, Lucas Samaras, Real Hassman, Willem Kreis, Lisette Model, Robert Leverant, Joseph Sedek, Glenn Luchford, Edna Bullock, Suzanne Rackinus, Grail Scoff, Frank Hurley, Bank Landmore, Carrie Mao Weems, Michael Bishop, Albert and Jean Seaberger, John Gutman, Kipton Cumler, John Sternfield, Derek Bennett, William Cliff, Erica Leonard, Arthur Siegel, Marcia Resnick, Clarence H. White, Fritz Henley, Julio Eckhart, Fritz Goro, E.J. Belosicki, CQ, is it? Whatever. Nathan Lyons, Ralph Gibson, Clarence H. White, Fritz Henley, Julio Eckhart, Fritz Goro, I read that right, Leon Livingston, Elaine Mays, Texas Tess, William Larson, John Michaels, Benno Friedman, Eve Saruman, Mark Cohen, Joyce Tennyson, Paul Pesfall, Doug Prince, Albert Sands, Southworth and Joshua Johnson, Joshua Johnson Hawes, Robert W. Fichter, George A. Tice, John Collier, Ananton Baruhel, Paul Martin, Tina, Inez von Lammerschfork, Tina Barley, Bob Willem, Stephen Sasbo, Paul Caponegro, Gilles Pierces, Robert Heineck, Wright Morris, Inez von Lamberbeck, Peter Hijar, Einig Morath, Judith Joy Ross, Judy Dater, Melissa Shook, B. Nettles, Dimitri Baltermans, Carl Blossfeld, Alexander Leiberman, Wolfgang Tillmans, Hans Namath, Bill Burke, Marion Palif, John Groover, Peter Keatman, Porcelain Hands, 1958, Henry Wessel, Jr., Cyril Labrat and Giles Matadin, Todd Webb, Andre Gelpick, Chiffre 389506, Incognito, 1993, classic. Thomas F. Barrow, Robert Cummings, Joseph M., Mark Yavno, Todd Papaga, George, Ruth Bernhard, Charles Sheeler, Tina Modati, Ziffa Wright, M. Alverza Bravo, William Henry Jackson, Peter Tooming, Betty Ha, T.S. Nagarajan, Muradell Winningham, Thomas Joshua Cooper, Eric Hartman, Oscar Bailey, Herbert List, Mirella Riccardi, Franco Fontana, Art Kane, Georgi Zelma, Sergei Mikhailovich, Prokudin Gorsky, Mario Sorrenti, Craig McDean, Renee Burry, David Douglas Duncan, Tazio Secchiaro, Joseph D. Jachna, Richard Baltus, Richard Misrak, Yoshihiko Ito, Minor White, Ellen Arabeck, Isis, Deborah Turaville, Arnold Newman, Taziki Ostrovsky, Joel Peter Whitkin, Adam Fuss, Ingrid Oswald, Enzo Regazzini, Bill Owens, Soina Noskowiak, David Lawrence Levithol, Marina Yampolsky, Jurgen Teller, Nancy Honey, Elliot Irwit, Bill Witt, Taizo Ichinos, Nicholas Nixon, Alan A. Dutton, Henry Callahan, Joel Meyerowitz, William A. Garnett, Ulf Hirisho Sugimoto, Tony Frischel, John Blakemore, Roman Vishniak, Debbie Lemming Caffrey, Raul Corals, Georgi Keps, Jodine, David P. Bales, Michael Snow, Alexander Krywobluski, Paul Bowen, Laura Gilpin, Andy Warhol, Twija Lydia Elizabeth Lindstrom Caldwell, Coronet Day, Kristen McMeanomy, Danny Lyon, Eric Solomon, Desire Chardonnay, Paul Quillicky, Carol Beckwith, George Citruson, Sailing Ships in an Ice Field, 1869. W. Eugene Smith, William Klein, Jose Ortiz Eschugole, Edward Muirbridge, and David Octavius Hill, August Sander, Antlis der Ich, Herbert Bayer, May Rand, Alex Webb, Francis B. Johnston, Russell Lee, Susie Lake, Jack Delano, Diane Cook, Heinrich Ziele, Laya Kuznetsova, Miodrag Dejvordejevi, Terry Fincher, Joel Meyerowitz, John R. Gossage, Barbara Morgan, Eduardo Bullet, Horst P. Horst, Hippolyte Bayard, Alex Kahn, Karen Helen Knorr, Carlotta M. Corpin, Abigail Hyman, Marion Post Wellcutt, Lillian Baseman, Henry Holmes Smith, Constantine Manos, Gideon Mille, Michael Nichols, Roger Fenton, Adolph de Meyer, Van Duren Smith, or Van Duren Coke? No, Smith. Van Duren Coke. Van Duren Smith. Van Duren Coke. Final answer. Barbara Aspin, Richard Kirstel, William Notman, Kenneth Josephson, Louis Dahl-Wolf, Joseph Kodelka, Sarah E. Charlesworth, Erwin Blumenfeld, Jacques Henry Lartigue, Perkle Jones, Edward Kodelka, Sarah E. Charlesworth, Aaron Blumenfeld. I've done this. So it's Edward Steichen, George Hurl, Steve Fitch, Lady Harwarden, Helman Lursky, Oscar Gustav Raylander, John Thomas, Irving Penn, and Jane Evelyn Atwood, photographs of children at the National School for the Blind Youth. Not to mention Sue Randall, Art Wolf, Charles and Rita Summers, Tom and Pat Leeson, Michael H. Francis, John Botkin, Dan Blackburn, Barbara S. Irwin, and Peggy Baller, Peter Arnold, Michael H. Gerald Lacey, James Wojcik, Dan Boris, Milani Ace Fedel, Michael McLawn, Darren Haddad, William Vasquez, J. Michael Myers, Rosa and Rosa, Patricia McDonnell, Aldo Rossi, Mark Ways, Craig Cutler, David Barry, Chris Sanders, Neil Brown, James Schniff, Kevin Wilkes, Ron Simmons, Chip Clark, Ron Kerbo, Kevin Downey, Nick Nicholas, also Eric Ader, Drew Campion, Les Walker, Rob Gilly, Don King, Jeff Hornbaker, Alexander Gallardo, Russell Hoover, Jeff Flint, Chris Van Glenip, Mike Moore, Brent Humble, Ivan Fern, Don James, John Callahan, Bill Morris, Kimuro Kondo, Leonard Brady, Fred Swegels, Eric Baseman, Strudia Darrell Wong, Warren Bolster, Joseph Liddy, Russell Hoover, Peter Frieden, Craig Peterson, Ted Grambo, Gordon Ho, Steve Wilkins, Mike Foley, Kevin Welsh, Leroy Granis, John Bilderbeck, Craig Feynman, Michael Grosswelt, Craig Huglin, Seamus Mercado, John Health Doc Ball, Tom Boyle, Ruth Keith, Vince Cavatillo, Jeff Devine, Aaron Lloyd, Chris Dale, technical difficulties again, sorry. Right there. Bob Barbo, John Witzig, Ben Sigfield, Ron Romaski, Brian Beelman, David Bjorn, John Severson, Martin Thick. See his profound shot of Dana Fisher cradling a chimpanzee rescued from a meat vendor in Zaire. Doug Cockwell, Art Brewer, Fred Schwelgs, Eric Hans, Mike Balzer, John Scott, Rob Brown, Bernie Baker, William Sharp, Doug Cockwell, William Sharp, Randy Johnston, Nick Puget, Tom Service, Dennis Jr., Eric Baseman, Sylvan Casanave, Woody Woodworth, and of course, J.C. Hemmett, David Chim Seymour, Vu Nyok Tong, William Dinwill, John Burton, Marv Wolf, London Thorne, John Gallo, Nguyen Hugh, Leonidas Stanson, Pham Ko Phak, Caddo and Herbert, Underwood and Underwood, James H. Hare, Tran Oi Young, Lucian C. Kirtland, Edmund Ritzenberg, Pham Trung, Lung Tan Tuk, George Strock, Joe Rosenthal, Ralph Morse, Ho Van Day, Nguyen Nyut Hyo, Nguyen Van Chien, Nguyen Van Thang, Fang Quang Lim, Trung Phu Thien, John Florian, George Silk, Carl Maidens, Pham Van Kyung, Nguyen Kiak Tam, Vu Hyun Nun, Nguyen Van Nyang, Nyevgen Kaldian, Toding, Holka, Hank Walker, Tran Nyok Dang, Van Du Hip, Trian Dien Hugh, Howard Breedlove, Nguyen Van Thang, Van Hien Lee Vang Kao, Burr McIntosh, Hervang Tu, Helen Leavitt, Robert Kappa, Lai Ang, Matthew Brady, Su Vang, Theo Hu, Ling Tong, Lisna, Nguyen Liang, Nam, Hyun Van Hugh, Nguyen Hyok Hyung, Alan Hearns Lek, George J. Thong, Viesna, Yongyan Long Nam, Hyunya Van Hugh, Nguyen Hyung, Alan Hearns Lek, George J. Thong, did that already. George J. Court II, Young Chow, Eric Weigen, Pham Vu, Bian, Giles Karen, Tran Bien Kyo, Gerald Kringle, Leduque, Than Tien, Frederick Sumner, Nguyen Van Thury, Robert Moser, Chiun Seraph, Young Thang Van Howard Nuremberg, Vo Nguyen Kian, Dang Van Hyung, James Pardue, Bu Dian Tui, Doug Clifford, Trans Young Hugh, Nyongvan Van Tha, Tiazbur Shimamoto, Shimamoto, Nguyen Van Young, Bob Hodinger, Nguyen Viet Hien, Dien De Song Hyung, T Moonface Kim Hyung, Leon Charles Shillipeth, The Ning, Young Van Nyogak Nyum, John Anders Cabbage, Nguyen Van Hyung, Francis Bailey, George Genslucker, Vo Van Long, James Dennis Gill, Yoing Van Dong, Nguyen Viten Van Hyun, Terrace Ku, Paul Schwitzer. Hey,
did I catch you in that 15-minute window of when you actually study during the day?
No, you're good.
Wish I would have.
Yeah. Hank sure loves you.
You're mean. Mean, I tell you. Mean.
Alright, love you too.
Girl.
Windsucker, Vo Van Long, James Dennis Gill, Yong Van Dong, Nguyen Van Hyun, Terrence Koo, Paul Schwitzer, Vo Van Kway, Malcolm Brown, Lekak Tam, Hyun Van Hyung, Do Van Yan, Franz Dalma, Kyochi Sadwa, Lily Metler, James Lower, Lee Kia, Sam Kia, Tim Kaya, Kai Fei, Frank Lee, Nguyen Van Man, Joseph Torlot, Duan Fing Hyung, Tu Tai Mani, Nguyen Nyangak Tu, Li Thi Nyang, Nguyen Van Chien, Doug Woods, Glenn Rossman, Hiro Michi Mine, Mine, Yong Kong Tian, Bernard B. Fall, Randall Raymer, Luong Nyagya Zong, Bill Hackwell, Penn, Nyongyan Duck, Than Chiaho, Jerry Wangarden, Vantha, Chip Murray, Jay Gonzalez, Pierre Hyunhen, Catherine Leroy, Leonard Heckel, Kim Van Turek, W.B. Boss Jr., Sean Flynn, Hyung Hill, Dana Stone, Nyeonyan Dung, Landon K., Thorne II, Jared Hubert, Michael Lort, Robert Jackson Ellison, Put Sofan, Yogyonyan Trung Diha, Hyonna Van Tree, Neil K. Holbert, James McJukin, Lee Yondu, Chor Vuthi, Claude Arpin Pont, Raymond Martinoff, Jean Purd, Nyongyu Hyung Nam, Dickie Chappelle, La Don Rar, Brian Grisby, Henry Hewitt, Hyun Bang, Mai, Peter Ronald Van Thale, Everett Dixie Reese, Jerry A. Rose, Oliver E. Noonan, Kim Savith, Bernard Morin, Kui Saren, Do Van Vu, Nguyen Man Hewitt, Charles Richard Eggleston, Sane Hell, Nguyen Owen Lit, Dick Durrance, Van Vu Young, Bernard Kohlenberg, So Vichith, Ronald D. Gallagher, Dan Dodd, Francois Sully, Kent Potter, Alfred Magabal, Dieter Bellendorf, Nick Mills, Ronald L. Halberg, Terry Reynolds, Leroy Massey, Castan, Al Chang, Philip R. Bowen, and finally Eddie Adams, Charles Hoff, Larry Burroughs, and Don McCullen, American soldiers tending to wounded children in a cellar of a house by candlelight, 1968.